Hi, welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We have a big show for you today. We have lots of animals, and the first guest that Tammy is taking care of today is Cynthia. And Cynthia is 5 years old, so technically that qualifies her to be part of our seniors. And so senior cats and dogs all get a discount of $20 from the ages of 5 to 9. So Cynthia would qualify for that discount. She is a gray and white domestic medium hair, and unfortunately this is not Cynthia's first day here at Animal Control. She was adopted from us last year and recently returned when her owner said that she was not getting along with one of the other cats in the household. So there were two other cats in the household, one that was much more docile, who she got along with, and then one that was more dominant, and she didn't really get along with that cat. Sometimes when there's that trouble in the household, they can mark in the house, and apparently she was doing a little bit of that according to her previous owners, so they surrendered her back to us. When we get a report that a cat is not using the litter box, we will track that here, and we have found, since she's been here with us, she's actually been with us since the 16th of November, that she uses her litter box. So she's gone back on our adoption floor, and hopefully we will find her a loving home with other pets in the house that are more compatible with Cynthia. According to the previous owner, she is calm, she's able to handle, she's friendly, she's a total lap cat, which is something that we have seen here already. She's very easygoing, she's not really afraid of people interacting with her. She's right at the front of her cage, picked her up without any trouble. She was perfectly content to sit on Tammy's lap. She's happy right now. She's not trying to get away. She's not scared of the various noises that she's hearing. She just needs a household with other cats that are going to be a little bit more relaxed, not so forceful with her and things like that. She does drool a little bit when she's happy, which to me is a cute trait. It's a cute little quirk. Some people are not as cool with that. And then of course, as a cat with longer fur, you're going to need to be managing that grooming and making sure that she's not getting mad and things like that. If you are interested in Cynthia, you can visit her here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. As a senior cat, her adoption fee would be $77.50. This is Callie, and she is a Seal Point Siamese, so she is probably the most exotic looking cat on the adoption floor right now. She recently came back to us after a stint in foster care. She's actually one of our moms, and she has 6 kittens that are still in foster care. Not a one of them looks like her. There's 3 gray ones and 3 black ones, and so she's back. She's done a great job taking care of those kittens, and now she's ready to find a nice, loving home for her to, get rid of those responsibilities and just enjoy the rest of her life. She's about 2 years old. Siamese mixes are known for being very talkative, and she definitely qualifies in that category as well. She's got great blue eyes. She's a little cross-eyed, which just makes her more endearing. Her foster mom says that she's basically a lovely cat. She's very friendly. She asks for attention. She likes to knead or make biscuits. She's still playful. Actually, her first day in her foster home, she killed a mouse. So she is an excellent huntress. So she has a lot of great qualities. She's just looking to find that right forever home for her. She, as an adult cat, would be going home for that $97.50 adoption fee that covers all of the medical care that we've provided for her, including her spay. She's been rabies vaccinated, got her distemper, flea and tick preventative, dewormer, all of that good stuff. We've already microchipped her, so she's ready to go. She just needs that family that's going to want to make her part of their home. She definitely has gotten along with other cats, given the fact that she was with her kittens. I'm not sure how integrated the fosters are with the existing animals in her household, but they did have at least one other cat, so she's used to having those other smells and things around. So hopefully she would integrate nicely if you had existing pets in your household. Again, 2 years old. just a very active, talkative Siamese cat. She loves attention, not afraid to ask for it. So if you're looking for somebody to add a little bit of noise to your quiet household, then maybe Callie is just what you're looking for. This is Chad, and Chad is one of the many kittens that we have available on the adoption floor right now. Because we have so many kittens, we are actually discounting them in the month of December. So instead of our normal $97.50, all of our kittens will be adopted for a fee of just $50 in the month of December. Chad is a cat that has been with us before. She is actually a girl. When she first came in, it was the beginning of June. It was June 2nd. And she was one of our tiny little bottle babies. And at that time, they thought that she was a boy, so she was named Chad. And then as she grew, it became evident that she was in fact a girl. But everybody in her foster family just liked the name, so they kept it Chad. And then when she was brought back to the shelter to be made available for adoption in August, the family that ultimately adopted her in September decided that they liked the name, and they kept that. Unfortunately, despite the fact that Chad got along with the dogs in her foster home, the dog in her new adoptive home was too rough with her, and the family was concerned that the dog was actually going to hurt her. So recently they brought her back to the shelter, where she is now on our adoption floor looking for another chance at a forever family. So again, she's definitely used to being around dogs, but she needs a dog that's going to be a little bit more docile with her, just because we don't want her to get hurt. She is very affectionate. She loves attention. She's pretty calm. She instantly purrs when you pick her up. She likes to hang out on a lap. She's, a kitten still, so she's pretty playful. But she's not one of those kittens that's really kind of overbearing. She's a little bit older. She's that 6-month mark now, so she'll kind of hang out in her bed, and then if somebody hangs out in her cage, near her cage, she'll come up, but she's not right at the front constantly grabbing at people, just whoever walks by. She's kind of like, oh, maybe you're here to see me, let me come out and interact with you. She has a little bit of hair loss on her hocks, but our vet has checked that, seen no real issues there, and she has the cutest little white whisker on her face. She's all black, but she has one white whisker, which really kind of makes her even more unique and special. I love Chad, and you should too. And if you are looking to make her part of your family, you could do so again for that $50 in the month of December. She's already been spayed, she's already been vaccinated, microchipped, all that stuff. She's ready to go. She just needs to find a family that where she's not going to get beaten up by the dogs. While Nissa might be the same size as our previous guest, Chad, she's actually a full 6 months older. So Nissa is an adult cat. She is about a year old. She too is domestic shorthair. She's all black. So she's definitely much more on the petite side. She's got that forever kitten kind of look to her. She's not going to get any bigger. When you have a cat that's very petite, it is really important to monitor their weight. They can get more overweight much more easily since they have that smaller frame. So you want to keep an eye on that. She is still a very active cat. I usually find her doing two things. She's either playing in her cage, or she's hanging out in her hammock, kind of flopped over the side, kind of just looking out and watching people as they walk by. Unfortunately, she's on a bottom cage, which makes it harder for her to be seen by potential adopters, but she's definitely going to make someone a wonderful pet. In fact, I've not had any issues with her. I have to take a lot of pictures. She's very amenable to that. She was easy to pick up. She's easy to handle. She was easy to carry. She purrs for you. She's very active. The other day, the photographer was here taking profile pictures for the animals, and she had one of those stick feather toys in her back pocket, and it was right in front of Nissa's cage, and so she was smacking at that, distracting the photographer while she was trying to take pictures of the other animals. So she definitely has that young cat personality to her, but you know that that's how she is. She's not so young that you're unsure of what you're getting. You know that you're going to get that playful, curious, affectionate cat, and that's who she really is. She came to us previously owned, but she did not have a name. She doesn't have a profile. So sometimes that just means that somebody maybe was caring for it for a period of 2 weeks or longer. Maybe it was a barn cat or a neighborhood cat that they were providing food to. So the information we're getting about Nissa is what's coming from our staff and volunteers. If you want some more information about her, you can always check out our Facebook page. All the animals have profile pictures up on there in an album, and a lot of times our volunteers will go on there and make comments about their interactions with the animals. So that can give you a little bit more of an idea of how they are one-on-one with people who are spending time with them on a daily or weekly basis. Because she is an adult cat, she would be adopted for that fee of $97.50. Again, she's already been spayed. She's had all of those vaccines, all of those various preventatives, microchipping, so she just needs to find that forever home. Our final cats on the show today are actually cats that have been on the show before, but individually. So these guys are Precious, who's sitting on my lap, and Claptrap, who's sitting with Tammy. And they came in separately. They didn't know each other when they first arrived at the shelter. Precious has actually been with us longer. And they moved into the kitty cabana together, and they have quickly become the best of friends. They play together. They rush to the door to greet visitors together. They cuddle in the same bed together. They are just becoming like inseparable in the kitty cabana. And it would be great if they could not just be best friends while they're here, but best friends forever. So that's why I wanted to put them on the show together so that people could see that they do really like each other's company. And you know, if you're looking for 2 cats to add to your household, instead of picking 2 random ones from the adoption floor, sometimes it's a lot easier if you pick 2 that are already familiar with each other. So cats that have obviously come in together and are housed together are great options, but also our cabana cats that have moved in together and are familiar with each other are also great choices. And that's kind of where you get Precious and Claptrap. They are both about the same age. We have Precious down as 3 years old, and Claptrap is down as about 2 to 3. Both are very playful. Both get along great with other cats. Both have lap cat qualities, which we're seeing right now. Precious is the one that is more frequently seen on a lap. They like to look out the window. They like to sit up high. They love, love, love visitors and always rush to the door to greet whoever's there. If you're in the first cabana, because they live in the second one, you can hear them crying for you to come in and hang out with them instead. They are both brown tabbies, but they are pretty easy to tell apart. So Claptrap is much larger. He's got a bigger head, and his fur is much lighter in color, and he has like a little white spot around his mouth. And then Precious is significantly smaller. Her fur is a little bit of a softer texture, and her fur is a darker color. So they are super fun to watch together. They like to, you know, smack each other around sometimes, but you know, at the end of the day, you go in, you peek in through the window, and you can just see them hanging out together. And it would be great if they could, you know, hang out together in a forever home. The benefit of adopting 2 cats is that you do get a discount, and then you have a companion for your animal when you're not home. So it's $20 off your total adoption fee if you were to adopt 2. These guys are both adults, so their individual adoption fees would be $97.50 a piece. You can visit them at the shelter at 1832 Rosemont Avenue, and they are in our kitty cabana, which is our free roam cat room. We hope that you enjoyed meeting these adoptable cats. After the break, we have tons of new dogs to showcase for you. We hope that you'll stay with us.
Child abuse is not an isolated problem. It affects each of us, and it is only through each of us that child abuse can be prevented. Get involved. Call the Child Advocacy Center to find out how to help. 301-600-1758.
Welcome back. Our first canine guest is actually the oldest dog on the adoption floor right now. This is Luke, and he is a tricolor beagle. He is 12 years old. He's color-coded orange, which means he's individually average, so he's going to be one of the dogs that's more social, more easy to handle, doesn't really pull as much and things like that. But when you get an older dog, in addition to getting that dog that's a little bit more well-mannered, more manageable, easygoing, you also sometimes get a dog that has more health problems. Just because, as even with humans, we age, we incur more of those medical things. So important things to know about Luke. Luke is deaf, so he approaches the world a little bit differently. We don't treat those animals that are differently abled any differently than the dogs that have all of their senses. We've seen Bentley on the show several times. He's blind, and we've had other dogs on the show that have been deaf as well. So you just want to make sure that you're always keeping a deaf or a blind animal on a leash for their protection, because they can't. In Luke's case, he can't hear traffic or people yelling or things like that, so we want to make sure that he's safe in that regard. You also want to be more mindful not to startle him, not to approach him from the back where he can't see you because he can't hear you coming. So you want to make sure that you're right in the front and let him know that you're there. And just really paying close attention to those things like that, because they can startle more easily when you touch them without letting them know that you're there first. Other things that are going to be a concern for Luke, medically speaking, he does have some little lumps on him that will need to be monitored and possibly removed. He also has a dental grade 4 out of 4, which means he really needs to have his teeth cleaned, and that's something that happens to a lot of animals, especially older animals. So he might need to have some teeth pulled, and once that's done, he's probably going to feel a lot better. Just because sometimes it can hurt when they're eating, and just be a little bit more uncomfortable for them. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at Luke, while he's a great dog and super social, very friendly, you want to read his entire medical history to make sure that you're willing to take on that financial expense of his medical needs as he continues to age. He is a super sweet dog, does well with other dogs, easy to walk, likes to be petted. So he definitely deserves a nice retirement home, but you want to make sure that you're able to, again, afford those expenses. Because he is a senior dog, he would go home for a $40 reduction in his adoption fee for being over 10. That would make him adoptable for a fee of $52.50. Our next guest is a big dog trapped in a small dog's body. This is Mustafa, and he is a 3 to 4 year old Chihuahua mix, and he seems to think that he is a Labrador Retriever because his favorite things to do are to play fetch, and he is a highly toy motivated dog, very ball driven. He loves to play. In fact, when they were processing him, he knew that there was a ball in one of the staff person's pockets, and he couldn't focus on anything else because he knew that there was a ball there. So he definitely loves to play. He willingly gives up objects, but because he is so into playing, it's good to have a system where you can trade him a toy for another toy, things like that, instead of just pulling things from his mouth. People think, oh, he's a small dog, he only weighs 7 pounds, no biggie, but he still has teeth, and you want to make sure that you're not putting him in a situation where he's gonna bite and be possessive of those things. So you want to make sure that you're always trading him, or when you do take things away from him, that you show him that he's gonna get those things back, so that he doesn't feel that he needs to be possessive and guard those things in a dangerous way. He came to us previously owned. He was his owner, unfortunately, was arrested, and the roommate kept the dog for a month but was unable to care for him long term, so brought him here to us so that we could find him another suitable home. He's just color-coded green, which just means he's a highly active, energetic dog, go all the time, so there's no real age restrictions on him. He has previously lived with other dogs. It says that he lived with a Dalmatian and a Doberman Hound mix. And he's been with children from the ages of 2 to 10 years old. They say that he's playful, energetic, a barker, even a fence jumper. We have seen most of those things here in the shelter. He's friendly, the playfulness, the jumping, the barking. We did obviously behavior assess him as we do with all the dogs. We find that he's pretty good about keeping his kennel clean, again, friendly, no reaction to the other dogs, easy to obtain. He has not learned how to walk on a leash. He had to be carried. So that's something that his new owners are really going to need to work on, getting him so that he's comfortable walking. It's important that he moves around, gets exercise, things like that. A harness would be best for him instead of a collar and leash, just because we don't want him to be able to pull out of that, especially since he's not comfortable with the leash walking yet. Becomes playfully aroused when he's petted, things like that. But overall, he's a funny dog that we have all started to come to love, because there's no real way to describe Mustafa. This odd couple is actually a bonded pair. They were found roaming the streets together as stray. They were put in a kennel together, and they are just the best of friends. So we are not going to separate these guys. So we have named them Bassoon and Reed. So the big guy is a brindle and white 6 to 8 year old pit bull, and we have named him Bassoon. And then the little guy is a 3 to 4 year old Yorkie mix who we named Reed. They absolutely adore one another. So our big guy is the cuddler. He wants to, wants a lot of affection. He wants you to cuddle with him. He's very loving. Then the little guy is a little bit more active. He's the one that's a little bit more wanting to play, maybe a little grabby, and those types of things. Bassoon is your typical pit bull. He pulls a little bit when he walks. Then, of course, Reed is very easy to walk. Both do well with other dogs for the most part, but depending on certain dogs, they can be a little bit more reactive. And Bassoon is definitely very protective of his little friend. So if another dog is making eyes or being a little bit of aggressive towards Reed, then Bassoon, definitely lets everybody know, like, this is my best friend, leave him alone, don't mess with him. Bassoon came in already neutered. We will make sure that Reed is neutered before he leaves. They've all been updated on their various vaccines and different preventatives, dewormer, flea and tick preventative, that type of thing. It can often be hard to adopt out these odd pairs like this, because most people who want a small dog don't really want a big dog. Most people who want a big dog don't really want a small dog. But you kind of get the best of both worlds with these guys. You get the super affectionate big lap dog with Bassoon, and then with Reed you get the playful little energy guy who wants to run around and play in the yard, and so you do get the best of both worlds. And the bright side is that Reed is relatively small, so it makes it easy to care for him in addition to Bassoon if you are already looking for multiple dogs. It's not like it's super hard, like it's two really big dogs. Again, we are not going to separate them. We know that people will probably ask if they are a bonded pair. Because of their ages, you will get a senior discount for Bassoon, and then you'll get that discount for adopting two because they are a bonded pair. If you are interested in them, you can visit with them 6 days a week. Our visiting hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. This is Milo, and Milo is about 7 months old, and he is a red, white, and black shepherd mix. And the thing with puppies is that you want to train them before they get to be 50 pounds like Milo is, so that they have good manners when they're this size. Unfortunately, Milo was not trained, so he is still behaving as a 3 or 4 month old puppy would, but he's significantly larger. So what Milo really needs is a family that's committed to providing him with the training that he needs to be a good canine citizen. So right now, Milo is a little jumpy. He gets excited. He wants to jump up on people and things. He's also a little mouthy. He doesn't understand what is and is not allowed to go in his mouth. And he can be a little bit intense about his food. So for those reasons, we're looking for a family with children 10 and up for Milo, because kids about that age have more of an understanding of, I shouldn't put my hands here on the dog, or I shouldn't stick my hands in his food bowl or take things away from him. So then everybody's going to be safe in the household. Milo was previously owned, and it appears that they surrendered him because of scratching. So that goes back to what I was just discussing. He is a dog that hasn't really been trained. He has no manners. He doesn't know sit. He doesn't know off. He doesn't know, that he shouldn't be biting and nibbling on people's hands. So when you have young kids in the household and you haven't trained your dog, kids that are 4 and 5, then that's just setting him up for failure. So you want to make sure that you're teaching him all of those appropriate things, and teaching your kids, for that matter, to respect your dog or your cats or any of your pets' space. So you don't want to, your dog is not a pillow. You don't want to lay on him. You don't want to sit on him. He's not a horse that you can ride. All of those things are going to be really important to make sure that there aren't going to be bites and scratches in the home. It's also important for kids and adults as well to learn dog body language and understand what their animal is feeling, so they don't get to that point where then the dog needs to react out of fear, things like that. So we're definitely looking for those 10 and up kids for Milo. We have behavior assessed him. You can read all of that information here at the shelter. In fact, it is a requirement before you can visit with him. He is a puppy, so he would be adopted for that $150 fee, and we will be taking up to 4 applications for Milo and choosing the best fit for him. If you missed out on our last set of 4 Beagle puppies, we have 2 more that are available for adoption. These guys are Skippy, who is over with Tammy, and Dew, who is sitting on my lap. They are about 5 months old. They came to us as strays, and when they first came to us back in the end of October, they were really sick. They had multiple kinds of worms. They had issues with their skin. So we took a long time to treat them, and now that they're healthy, they are ready to find their forever families. They are color-coded green because they're very active. They are still, really young puppies, so they're learning how to walk on a leash. They're learning how to be brave and not be afraid of certain things. They're learning what is and is not good manners for a dog. Because these guys are so young, they have not been behavior assessed. Typically, we don't start behavior assessing dogs until they're about 6 months old, when their personalities are a little bit more set. So these guys are still really young. They are housed together right now to keep each other company, but we typically will not adopt puppies together. Because then they bond so closely with one another that maybe they're not as into or interested in their owners. And also, puppies are a lot of work. Just one puppy is a lot of work. In fact, one of our last Beagle puppies got returned very quickly because the owner just didn't understand the amount of work that went into caring for a young dog like this. So our puppies, we take up to 4 applications for them and choose the best fit for the dog based on the information we're given. And we do charge a little bit more for a puppy because they require more care. So our puppies are adopted for a fee of $150. So these guys are sweet and they're playful. They're your typical puppies, but you do want to make sure that you're fully committed to house training them and teaching them good manners and things like that. If you are interested in them, you can visit with them here at the shelter. Again, our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue, and our visiting hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. We hope you enjoyed meeting these great adoptable animals today on the show. If you didn't see anything that struck your interest, always stop by and visit with us. There's plenty more on the adoption floor. And we hope that you'll tune in again next week.